right. We are live. It's the day after.
Hey, everyone.
We're feeling it.
Yeah.
So we had a total different topic.
We did. I wrote everything
You
out.
did. I even have your notes right
yeah.
here. And as soon as we saw each other today, we were like,
Yeah.
We'll postpone that. We'll get back to it.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it, right?
Yeah.
We'll talk about support for families who have a loved one who is going through the struggle of addiction. But today, we're just feeling the day after.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. We both kind of just came together and we're like, are you exhausted? I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
Just, really had a lot of, like, it just feels like a lot.
Yeah, it has been a lot. So I think a big part of it is there's been this build up to this big day, this big election day. Yeah. Huge, right?
On
Huge.
both sides. Like,
on
it
both
doesn't matter
around.
what your political affiliation is, it's just a lot of like tension and, whether it's fear or excitement, however you want to define it.
Yeah.
Right.
Or sometimes it's a fine line.
Right.
Fine delineation.
Right. I have anxiety too.
A lot of anxiety, a lot of uncertainty. And I think for a lot of us, we were hoping there have been plenty of people who were hoping that we would have some kind of answers or some kind of something happen. And that we're not. We're sitting in uncertainty. And that's really, really hard.
Yes.
Right?
I think that's the hardest part of all of this is the unknown, and that's pretty much a macrocosm of things that we experience in our individual lives. Like when there's a lot of unknowns, it can make us feel very anxious and unsettled. And I think that's what's happening in the greater world, right?
I was sharing with you, I had this moment when I woke up this morning where I paused and I thought, before I got out of bed, like this world that you're about to enter into could look very much different than the world looked like when you went to bed last night. Just, with understandably, along with the political climate, the civil and social, like everything that's happening.
Right. Like a lot of things this year. Like a lot of things have happened that we would never have anticipated. Right. So it's like kind of anything could happen. Right.
Anything could happen. Right. And likely will.
Right.
So what do we do with that? What do we do with that uncertainty? And we were both like leaning into the biggest thing that we know to lean into is self-compassion. Right.
And as therapists, here we are trying to help you all deal with the unknown, the unsettling, the uncertainty, right? And we're dealing with it ourselves. I mean, it's just very real. We're human too, right? So it's like, what are the tools that we practice for ourselves to help us get through these times? We want to share that with you too.
Yeah. So here's what I want to say as we enter into this. Elena she came in and we were like, And so we both agreed self-compassion. And I said, well, the biggest productive thing, outside of the sessions that I've done today with clients and being present with clients is watch a training because, that's what I do. Like, that's my jam. Yeah. Like, let me just kind of lose myself in this training. And one of the things that was highlighted in the training was one of the leading experts in the field of trauma came out and said, this practice of self-compassion is essential for healing from trauma.
Right.
And I was like, yes. Right. Yes, it is.
How can you heal from trauma if you're inflicting more wounds on yourself?
Which is basically the opposite of self-compassion, right?
Right. Exactly.
So talk to us about self-compassion.
So self-compassion, it's very well researched by a doctor, PhD in, is it Arizona? She's in? Austin, Texas. Okay. Yeah. So Dr. Kristen Neff, she really has researched self-compassion and the impact it has on people and their mental health. There's three main components. The first one is just self-kindness, right? So being kind to yourself, what does that look like? Does it mean taking a bubble bath? Does it mean, going for a walk outside, getting some fresh air, meditating? There are so many things that to do to be kind to yourself. It's just a matter of, are you doing them or not? For me, self-kindness was like not expecting myself to be super productive today. Like I did the best I could, but I was tired. And just having that, okay, it's okay. Right?
It's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah. I love the definition of being a good friend to yourself.
Yeah.
And speaking to yourself with kindness. Right? Because we all have that critical voice that like gets really big when we're kind of in a tough emotional space.
Right. So, and that can even be just a physical thing, like just touching your face. We talk about this in session, touching your face, giving yourself a hug. It seems really cheesy and cliche, but it actually works. Like, oh, that actually feels kind of nice.
We're mammals and we're wired for physical touch. So yeah, to be able to give that to ourselves.
Just like try it. Just put your hand on your heart or on your face. It feels really good.
Yeah.
So that's one piece, just practicing that self-kindness. And then also the second piece is mindfulness, right? So just bringing yourself back to the moment, back to your breath. What am I feeling? What am I thinking? Just really even just bring yourself to this present moment, right? That's really helpful in self-compassion.
And I love the mindfulness component where we can identify that we're having struggle without like feeling that we're going to dive into it and like swim around in the muck and the mire forever. Like in this moment is difficult. Not every moment is going to be difficult.
Right. And it's kind of separating yourself from the whatever you're feeling or whatever is going on. It's kind of just being the observer, right? It's like, okay, this is happening. Alina is feeling XYZ or Yolanda's feeling XYZ, but I'm not kind of in it. I'm just kind of observing it from afar. So that's part of the mindfulness piece. And then the third part, which is really helpful, I think, is getting some perspective through what is called common humanity, right? So it's knowing that you're not the only person going through this. Like, it was actually pretty comforting. I was talking to a friend on the phone on the way here. We were just talking about, hey, how you doing? Like, what's going on? Just talking about how we're doing. And when I got here, we kind of just talked about how we were doing. And it's just really nice to know that you're not alone in all of this. So it's that common humanity piece, that knowing that everyone's going through the same thing right now.
Yeah. I think that when we are in struggle, that's kind of our self-talk, is that you're the only one.
Right.
If you weren't such a blah, 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 XYZ, then, or suck it up, buttercup or whatever. But knowing that this is just a hard time, a hard space. It's not always going to be this, we will move to whatever the next step is. But maybe for today, we just kind of take a breath and
just sit with it. I know that's hard to say and it's hard to practice, but those are some 3 components and 3 things that you can actually practice with to help you go through this time and practice self-compassion.
It's a thing.
It's a thing.
I know. I wish it weren't a thing, and then I realized there was all the research around it.
Yeah.
And it's a thing. So self-compassion is something that we really, as a trauma-focused practice here, something that we talk about a lot, and we put into practice ourselves, and we help our clients put into practice.
Right.
So if you are needing to get some support in building a practice of self-compassion for yourself, here's a good place to do it. You can feel free to reach out to us to schedule a free consultation. Just give us a call, 813-434-3639, and be gentle with yourselves today.
Yeah.
All right, guys, take care. There we go. We're going to finish.